Hi, I'm Josh Ratliff. I'm the Professional Development Specialist for WVEIS. I'm located out here at RESA 2, and today we're going to do a little demonstration on the WVEIS application for 21st Century Community Learning Centers. Okay, so first thing you want to do is open up Internet Explorer and navigate to this web address. Well, all you need is this part right here, wveis.k12.wve.us /21ST C CLC. Okay, now punch that in. It'll take you to this page right here, and this is where you're going to log in with your user ID and password. When the application opens up, you're going to notice that all of your navigation is over here on the left-hand side. What I want to do is go ahead and close down each of these menus. They can be open and closed using the plus minus sign. I'm just going to close them all up, and we're going to go through them one by one. Close down each of these here. Okay, let's start with the Program tab. Let's open that up. I'm going to do a program profile. This is where you're just going to enter the name of your program. The grant ID. And the program director. You'll notice that the record has been updated. Okay, the record of, program objectives. So where you're going to go in, again, very self-explanatory. Key in the grant number here. You can add an objective here, how that objective lines up with classifications. You know, if it's something that you're going to do on student behavior, you check the appropriate boxes. Over here, status of the objective, met the objective right on down the line, revise the objective, whatever you need to check on that, and then submit. Let's go into maintenance. Now, each of the maintenance tabs is a place where you can maintain the previous menu item. So in this one where it says maintenance, what I'm going to be maintaining is one of those program objectives. So in other words, if you've put in a program objective and then you need to make a change to it, some kind of maintenance for that, this is the menu item that you would go in. Again, key in the grant ID at this point in this field, hit continue. It'll take you in, you'll see a list of your program objectives. You can click in any of those to maintain any of those. If one of your program objectives needs to be deleted, again, it's going to work exactly the same way in the delete tab. You're going to go in here, select the objective. You're not going to see any on mine because I'm not putting any in. But if I did have some in there, you would see the list of the objectives. You can click on any of those, and you can delete some of those objectives that maybe needed to be removed from the list. Program site, again, very straightforward. Just fill in the data fields, site name, site coordinator, right on down the line. Key in this information. When you're done with it, right here at the bottom, hit the submit button. Just like before on the maintenance tab, again, what we're maintaining at this point is the program site. So if something needs to be changed with some of this information that you entered here, let's say you're going to change the number of weeks that you're open during the summer, you're going to change the number of hours. You just go into maintenance, key in the site number, and then maintain any of those program sites that you need to maintain. Program partners, again, all the 21st Century grants have program partners. So at this point, you would go in and you would enter the program partner as you have it listed there in your grant. Maintain, again, if you need to change any of that information that you listed here. Say, there's a change here with one of these fields. Maintenance would allow you an opportunity to go in and change some of that information. Feeder schools, again, you can refer to your grant for this, but all the this is where you would go to list all the feeder schools that are in your program. The list would just provide a list of all those feeder schools, and again, you can delete those if you need to. If one was part of the program originally and now it's not, this is where you would maintain that information. Service dates, that's your start and your end date for each of your services that you're offering. Again, you just go into the program, key in the start date, end date, submit. So that basically summarizes the program tab. So I'm going to close that one over here to the left, hit the minus sign, close that down. Let's open up staff and look at that. Staff is a little bit simplified. It just has identify staff. So here you would provide the year, the name of the volunteer or the staff member, some appropriate check boxes, some radio buttons. You just need to read this information, check the appropriate boxes. Okay, now down here at the bottom is an important section I do want to point out. This is where you can assign a user ID for that staff member. Let's say that that staff member needs to be able to log into the system and do attendance or to maintain activities, or one of the maybe they need to work with student data in there. So this is where you could add the student, your partner, your staff member, a user ID and a password, and then grant them access into one of these sections. Okay, that summarizes staff. Just close that down. Go in here to activities. When you have an activity that you're going to be doing as part of your grant, you're going to go into identify activities and do just that. You're going to list the activity in a short name of the activity, a description of it, the grant number that's associated with that particular activity. Okay, here the subject areas where it's related. Over here, some targeted specific student populations. Enter that information there. Again, radio buttons for each of these things. You just read through. It's very simple. Just read through each of these sections and then check the appropriate box. When it's all completed exactly to the way that you've spelled it out in the grant, you just want to hit submit on that. And then we're going to go into the activity log. In the activity log, you're going to do exactly that. You're going to log those activities. Once you've got your activities spelled out in this menu item, you're just going to go to the next one and log each time that those activities are performed. Okay, maintain log. Again, if there's some kind of changes that need to be made to the activity log, you need to change the number of hours that you did a certain activity, or something needs to be changed in that, you go into this maintenance section, click into this menu item, and that would give you an opportunity to maintain some of that information that you've listed. Activity list does exactly that. It lists the activities that you have. Under students, if you are working with a student who has a WVEIS ID already, you can go to WVEIS student enrollment and enroll them right out of the enrollment information that's already in WVEIS. Okay, that's how that's done right here with this menu item. You may also be working with some students who are not already in our system. Maybe they go to a private school, or they're from for whatever reason they're not in the WVEIS system. That's perfectly okay. That information can be entered right here. That information can be maintained right below it. If you need to activate or deactivate a student that's in the enrollment, there's a menu item for that right here. Activate, deactivate enrollment. So you have a student who was coming but now they're not. They can be activated, deactivated from the enrollment right here. This next set of items is all optional data. If there's some optional data that you need, you can go in here. This is very detailed, providing home phones, work phones, cell phones, any of this kind of emergency contact information. You have access to all that kind of stuff if you want to keep that. Medical info, it goes on and on. There's lots of data that you can put in. It's all optional. Let's have a look at attendance. Attendance is kind of a big topic here. Now, daily present and daily absent. Let me explain how those work. Both of them are used to take attendance. If you have mostly students on your roster who are present, then you could use the daily present. And what that does is it defaults the roster to being present. If you have a large roster but not a lot of those kids show up, you may prefer the default for daily absent. And in that case, all the students would be defaulted to absent, and you would just mark the students who are present. Either way, they do the same thing. Maintenance, again, just like all the other applications, if you've entered some attendance that needs to be modified or changed, maintenance is a place to do that. Resources. I'll just point these out very briefly. partner guidelines, some activity data guidelines. These are just basically links out to other documents. Okay, so none of those actually have any functionality within the system other than links to helpful information that you may need for your program. The testing menu really is not for us. It's not something that we need to describe, so I'm just going to skip right over that. In reports, if you need to generate some reports about the federal program that you're working with, the attendance reports for 20 days of attendance or 30 days of attendance, which you know is kind of a mark that we're going for, you can generate attendance reports on those. Students' attendance for a single date, maybe that's a report that you need that you can generate that too. Okay, change password. This would be a place where if you have a user ID and a password that was generated for you automatically and you're not going to remember that user ID, you can go into this location and change the password to be something that you are going to remember, something that you're familiar with. And at the bottom, of course, will be an option for us to log out. And it is always a good idea to log out when you're done. That way you're not leaving the system open. Again, that's just a very brief overview of the application. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact me here at RISA 2, and I would be happy to help you in any way that I can. Thank you.